Have you ever come across an idea, maybe a metaphor, that just completely changes the way you look at things? Today, we're going to dive into one of those from an ancient mystical text called the Chevel Yitzchak. It's a story all about a king and his field. Sounds simple, right? But as you're about to see, this little story might just hold the key to understanding our own lives.
So, right at the heart of this whole thing is this simple yet kind of mysterious parable. You've got a king, you've got a field, and you've got a guardian. That's it. But these three things are the foundation for everything else in the text. It's like a puzzle the sages keep coming back to, looking at it from different angles, trying to figure out what it all means. You can just feel there's a secret here, waiting to be unlocked.
So that's the big question, isn't it? The one we're going to try and answer together. What is this field? I mean, are we talking about actual dirt and crops, or is it a metaphor for something way deeper? And maybe, most importantly, what does it really mean to be the one guarding it?
Now, what's so cool about this text is that it doesn't just give you one simple answer. That would be too easy. Instead, it lets us see how all these different wise thinkers wrestled with this exact metaphor, each one of them adding their own unique layer of meaning to this idea of the field.
And it's really fascinating when you look at how they each saw it. You've got Rabbi Levi who's like, it's a watchman. Makes you think of being constantly alert, right? Then Rabbi Kanina says, no, it's a tenant farmer. That's all about responsibility. Rabbi Yitzchak throws in a tower, a symbol of protection, and the sages, they compare it to a doctor's bag of remedies, something you literally can't live without. You see the common thread, though? Whatever this field is, it's incredibly valuable, and taking care of it is a full-time, lifelong gig.
So yeah, it's pretty obvious by now we're not talking about acres of land with crops. This is a metaphor for an inner landscape. And the text says, to work this inner landscape, you need a special set of tools. They're called spiritual powers, or kochot, in the original Hebrew.
All right, let's get into the first set of these powers. Think of these as the tools for working on your inner self, for tilling that inner soil, if you will. These are the ones that are all about your mindset and your spirit.
First step is Kedusha, which we translate as holiness. But, and this is a big but, don't picture some kind of halo or a finish line you cross. The text is clear. This is a constant process. It's not about being perfect. It's about the daily, even hourly effort of trying to elevate yourself, to connect with something sacred.
So you might be asking, okay, that sounds great, but how do you do that? Well, the text gives us a few pointers. First, you have to actively work on it, all the time. But here's the encouraging part. It reminds us that our soul, at its core, is already holy. That holiness actually grows from the field itself. It's the very foundation. And without that foundation, forget about unlocking any of the deeper spiritual secrets.
The next power is teshuvah. This word literally means return. And this is where the text gets, wow, just incredibly hopeful. It basically says that even a whole generation that's gone completely off the rails, entirely guilty is the phrase it uses, can be redeemed in an instant. All it takes is one single, genuine moment of deciding to turn back. I mean, what a powerful idea about our capacity for change.
Okay, so we've worked on the inner soil. Now it's time to plant some seeds, but this time in the world around us. This next set is all about the powers of action.
And a huge one here is tzedakah. Now, a lot of people hear that and think charity, like dropping a few coins in a box, but it's so much deeper. The root word, tzedek, actually means justice. So this isn't just about being generous. It's about actively creating justice in the world. And get this, the text says the act of tzedakah is so powerful, it basically cultivates its own separate field.
And the text makes a huge claim about this. It says that this kind of righteous giving can literally save a person from death and help bring about the redemption of the whole world. So yeah, this is way more than just a nice thing to do. It's presented as a force that can literally change reality.
Let's trace that out for a second, because it's like a ripple effect. It starts with you, the giver. You become a helper of the field. But the catch is, it has to come from the heart. It has to be genuine. When it is, it creates this kind of spiritual merit that protects you. And then the ripple keeps going, flowing outward until it's helping to heal the entire world. It's just an amazing chain reaction.
Okay, so we've tilled our inner soil, we've planted seeds of good deeds. What's left? Well, now we have to connect our field to its power source. Think of it like a plant needing sunlight to grow. These are the powers of divine connection.
The big one here is tefillah, or prayer, but there's a really interesting condition.
The text says that for a prayer to be heard, you have to make yourself as flesh. What an image, right? It means you have to drop the ego, forget your job title, forget your status, and just stand there as a raw, vulnerable human being. Apparently, that's the only way to really open up that line of communication.
And what I find really cool is that the text gives us two different ways to connect, and they work together. On one hand, you have tefillah. That's your personal effort, your own work in this very moment. But on the other hand, there's something called zechut avot, the merit of your ancestors. The idea here is that you're not starting from zero. You get to tap into the spiritual bank account of all the righteous people in your family line who came before you. It's like inheriting a field that's already been beautifully tended for generations.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got this parable of a field. We've talked about the inner tools, the outer actions, and the connection to the divine. So, where does this all take us? What's the point? What do you actually get from all this work?
And here we go. This is the big reveal. The whole secret behind the Chevel Yitzchak. What is the field, the Sadeh? It's not some patch of land. It's you. It's your soul, your life, all of your potential. The king in the story is the divine source, and you are the guardian. You've been entrusted with this precious, incredible field for your entire life.
So when you use all these spiritual powers we've talked about, holiness, return, righteous giving, humble prayer, what you're actually doing is tending the garden of your own soul. And the harvest? Well, it's basically everything we want out of life, isn't it? Holiness, connection, a sense of righteousness, redemption, purpose, life itself. It's all right there, just waiting for you to cultivate it.
So the text leaves us with one final powerful question, and it's a big one. If your life really is a field and you are its guardian, what are you going to grow there? What will you choose to cultivate? And in the end, what kind of harvest will you have to show for it?